Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Circle City Conversations, where we sit down with the people who are helping shape our legal community and the places here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Alex Limontes. I am joined today by Marion County Superior Court Judge Tim Oakes. Judge Oakes, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Although I think I'm in the wrong place. Shape the legal community, I would say probably more in my case, the legal community has shaped me, but I don't know that I've had any lasting impact on the legal community, but it had definitely shaped my life.
Well, Judge, you've been on the bench a long time, right?
This is my 18th year. Yes.
So
and
done a little shaping, right?
For that was a decade of private practice. And,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Somebody else, I won't say who the judge was, but it's a very well-respected, smart, wise judge who said to me one time, I was very stressed out about a particular issue in our court. And he said to me, Tim, it was here 100 years before you. It'll be here 100 years after you. And that gave me a different perspective in terms of, you do, and Bill Hudnut used to always say, and he's written, do your best and leave the rest, and it's like, I don't know. Again, I come back to I don't know if I shaped anything in the legal community, but I think it definitely has shaped me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. So let's go back to before the legal community. Tell us about the beginning. Where are you from, Judge?
I was part of the Great Migration, like so many other families who moved up here in the 50s and 60s looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
Our little community, which is now Lake Cumberland area of Kentucky, there had been jobs both that were east of us in the mountains with the coal mining, but also with our community, clearing all that land for the lake. And people had kids, and the kids, would get jobs. And there was all kinds of, sawmills. There was just a variety of other throw-off when they were clearing the land for the lake for probably, I think it started in maybe late 30s or early 40s, stopped for World War II, picked up again, and then by 52, it was done.
Yeah.
Well, people are still having children, and so a lot of, and for a lot of other reasons in other states, people were moving north because that's where the jobs were, factories. My parents were no different. My dad was, barely sixth grade educated in a two-room schoolhouse. My mom made it through high school, but like so many people during that time, they moved up here. I think about that, they were probably 8. My mom was 18, moving up here, found jobs. Actually, my dad had jobs. Other people from his community were already here, a little bit older guys, and working, framing houses for an old company called Wright Bachman. And they would frame these houses. And there was, they worked hard and did all that job. And then my mom eventually, we went back and forth. So when the summer was out and the job slowed down framing houses because of the weather, my folks would move back there to Jabez, a little town called Jabez, a little wide spot in the road. It's now because of the lake, it's on a peninsula. So I call it like the longest 45-mile, whatever it is, dead-end road. But they would move back, help strip tobacco, maybe do some side work down there for somebody, right? And then when the weather picked back up here in March, we'd move back until I got to be about grade school age, and my mom found a job as a janitor at RCA, and she did that work for 30-something years. My dad later ripped out his back and had surgery doing that job and got put on disability, but he would then still fiddle with lawnmowers and became a guy in the community who knew how to fix a lawnmower, whatever for people. So people always came into the trailer park. But yeah, that was, we moved around for first 4 or 5 years, settled in the trailer park first on the north side of Massachusetts Avenue at 30th and Emerson, across Mass Avenue from what is now Chuck's Market. Later, when I was 8, we moved into a trailer park, which was the Pennington Trailer Park, on the south side of Massachusetts Avenue. And that was Chuck's. Chuck bought it, and Chuck's Trailer Park and Chuck's Market, which is if you're from the east side of Indianapolis, people always sometimes say, I'm from the east side. And I say, where? And they go, and then my test question is, about Chuck's Market? And if they say no, they're not from the east side. So if they, or at least from my part of the east side, the poor part, if they say yes, I know Chuck's Market, they're like, oh yeah, we know each other then. We travel the same ground. So Chuck's still there. I think he just sold it, maybe still run the market for a few more years, but he sold the land. Like I said, he became our landlord.
Yeah.
We became friends. My dad was friends with Chuck. And then my dad did work for Chuck. I did a little work for Chuck just for a little bit one summer. And then later, after I graduated from law school and had my own law practice later, Chuck was a client.
Really?
Yeah, did some work.
Wow.
Yeah, legal client. And then
Round
when he was
world.
selling the trailer park here recently, they were, kind of confused about some things. And then he asked me, my thoughts, and it was more business questions, but it's East Side. I'm an East Side guy. I went to 99, did Forest Manor for a year, went to Tech High School.
Okay.
From 78 to 82.
Okay.
Graduated from Tech. And then, like a bunch of other Tech guys before me, went to Wabash, was recruited and went to Wabash College.
You were, did you play any sports at Wabash?
No, I thought I was going to walk on the basketball team. I thought I was that good. It's Division III. I'll just walk on. And I went and talked to the coach. They had just won the national championship the year before with Pete Metzlars, who played all those years in the NFL. They won he was 6'10", he was a dominating center, and they'd won the national, and they had other great guys on the team, and they won the national championship the year before I got there. And then when I'm talking to a coach who just won the national championship, and he's looking at me like, I've never heard of you.
Yeah.
My parents made me quit the team in high school. I made the team in Tech, and they made me quit. And I thought, well, now I'm not living underneath their roof. I can play. But two things. One, Mac Petty, who's still around, great guy, was coach. He was not very encouraging, and for good reason. That's probably a good test, right, to see if a guy really wants to do it or not. And then the second was I got my first exam back that I'd ever taken at Wabash College. It was in French, and I had taken French in grade school as part of this little gifted program that IPS had. That 7th, 8th grade, took both those grades, took French in high school. Decided I'll take French 1 as my basic course at Wabash. This is guaranteed A. And it happened to be the very first exam, not long around that conversation with Coach Petty. And I got an F.
Oh.
I'd never had anything less than a B. I don't think I'd had a B in grade school or high school. I got an F. I walked back to the fraternity house, literally tears in my eyes, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm stupid and nobody told me. And I really thought that was like some major, conspiracy in the world that they like, hey, let's let them think that they're smart. And then like, we'll show them, and then we'll send them back home, whatever. I didn't know what to think. And finally, some of the guys in fraternity who were, thank God for them, they huddled around and said, no, ease up. Don't, blah, 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 this is that. And I made it through and got better at being a student, but I was not prepared for Wabash. That's for sure.
So take us a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the law. And did you always know that you wanted to go into the law?
No. When I was I saw my dad be a carpenter. I went with work to him. And listen, my dad didn't give me a lot of advice a lot of times, other than maybe a little bit of discipline. But he always said to me, he'd come home from work, he's covered in sweat and sawdust, and maybe I saw him come home one day, almost lost an eye because a nail broke when he was hammering it and hit him in the eye. And my other friend of mine, Barry Polson, who was a football coach out at Ben Davis when they were going through those championship, Barry's uncle owned the crew that my dad worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I go to work with Uncle Al one time. He goes, I sit there and I saw this guy fall off the top of the thing. I saw this body come off 2 flights up, 2 stories up. I heard it hit the ground. He goes, I run over there and there's your dad. And he's standing up and he goes, are you hurt? My dad said, yeah, a little. He goes, he dusted himself off, walked back to the house, go up the stairs, got up on that 2x4, was walking that rail. Like, it was a different world. So my dad always said to me, to finish that story, is that, son, don't do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's too hard on your body. Don't do what I'm doing. It's like, and he was pretty adamant about that most of his life. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. Right. I don't know what you don't know. All the people I saw, like some of our neighbors was my dad's foreman, they worked at a factory, but I don't know what that looks like or means. I'm trying to think about the other people in the trailer park. They just all kind of did those, but those jobs I also saw them going.
Yeah.
So early in my career at Tech, they talked about computers, but I didn't really, in coding, I didn't really get that. So they said I'd be good at it, but I didn't chase that. I thought about being an auto mechanic because those people did things for people and they helped people, right? Everybody, if you're from not a wealthy area, you know who the mechanics are in the neighborhood who are good, and they're always revered, right? At least I think it's still true. if they're a good mechanic, do things at a fair price, they're revered. And I thought, yeah, maybe I want to be a mechanic, but I couldn't. I took a mechanics class at Tech High School, didn't really figure it out. I said, well, maybe auto body. Well, that's really more of an art than a technical thing. So I was not really artistic and not sure I had the patience to do auto body. And then the junior year, I thought electricity. I would still, by the way, think about being an electrician. I thought I might have should have done that. And then somebody my senior year suggested electrical engineering. I had no idea what that meant. Still not sure. 45 years later, but they thought, oh, you maybe go to Purdue and you can do electrical engineering. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And so, to answer your question about, I always want to do law. Understand that what I thought about college. I always give this metaphor for college. All right, I'm going to send you, Alex, to Mubada. And at Mubada, you're going to do this da-da-da-da. So you're going to Mubada to do da-da-da-da, okay? And they're going to speak the language of la-la-la, okay? And now, do you know, I just told you that, explained it very clearly what I said to you. Where are you going and what are you doing? Can you tell me in English? Can you tell me?
Going to Mubada.
Yeah, but what's that mean?
I don't, we're going to do da-da-da.
What's that mean?
And learn something else.
What's that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know, right? You know as much about as what I thought about, I knew about college and high school.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. I didn't understand. Like, what do you mean you take more classes? You don't have to take more classes. You graduated in high school.
Yeah.
I can't give a better metaphor for that than college, I didn't understand it.
Right.
I didn't get it. And there were some guys before me from Tech who had went to college at Wabash, a whole, like 4 or 5 years previous. Dave Lewis, by the way, who was Lilly exec, chaired a bunch of sporting stuff here in the city. He was 5 years ahead of me, I think. Hollis Evans, who later became my pledge father, he was from the east side. His mom worked at Lilly. Jay Carr, who's a very good chess player, very good Jeopardy player, had his own career. He's retired early. I think he was retired 5 years ago. He's only 2 years older than I am. And just smart guy. But Jay and I were not really close. And then there was Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis was 1 year ahead of me, both in grade school, high school, and then college. He was in the same fraternity. All the Tech guys went to the Fiji House at Wabash College. And I remember Jeff coming back one year, my senior year, and I said, what does that mean? What are you doing over there? What's that? And Jeff, you have to know Jeff is very, very bright, very stoic, very deliberate in his speech. And he kind of explained it to me. And I looked at him and I said, I still had no idea what the heck he's talking about. Other than you take some classes on these subjects that I didn't understand what that meant.
Right.
Why would you take a class on religion?
Yeah.
What is philosophy? I don't know what that means. I don't even know what philosophy.
Yeah.
Forget who Aristotle and Plato is and what their theory on government was. What is philosophy? I don't understand. Why do I need to take another English course? I already know how to diagram sentences well, better than most. So I take some more math. But I just didn't get it. I did not get it. And it's not a secret. I had an incident in high school that put me in contact with the legal system. And that just opened my eyes.
Yeah.
And I for lack of a better phrase, I kind of felt the calling. And I went off to college with that idea and followed what I thought was the right path to become a lawyer and maybe a judge someday. And that's what interests me in the law. It was just that interaction with the legal system. And had that not happened, I don't know. I have no idea what would happen. But
my family immigrated here from Cuba after Fidel Castro took over, and this government took everything from my family, and that attracted me to be a lawyer. Insurance companies can be like bullies, and they have a lot of resources behind them. Give us a call here at Hearst Limontes. We are protective of our clients because our clients matter and you matter. At Hearst Limontes, we're a firm that believes in people. We don't just talk about justice or fairness, we live it. The Indiana Fever are trailblazers. They inspire not only in how they play, but how they lead in our Indiana community. Being a father changes everything. Supporting the Fever is one way that I show my kids what it means to believe in fairness, to believe in respect and possibility. At Hearst Limontes, we believe in those same things. The Fever stand for resilience, grit, determination, and heart. They aren't just a basketball team. They're a symbol of what's possible when you refuse to give up. Their impact ripples far beyond the court, and you can see it in the energy, pride, and hope that they create in our city. Whether you're a young girl dreaming of playing in the WNBA or a kid in a small town dreaming of becoming a lawyer, you belong. This partnership is proof of that. At Hearst Limontes, we believe in standing up for those people that are overlooked. From court to court, Hearst Limontes is your winning team.
Yeah.
I want to spend the rest of our time talking about something that I know is really important to you, which is where you're
My
from.
dog? Oh.
Down there in southern Kentucky, and
Yep.
Lake Cumberland area. So tell us a little bit about just Lake Cumberland, not necessarily your hometown. For someone who's never been there, how would you describe Lake Cumberland?
It's a beautiful man-made lake. Tennessee Valley Authority started in, don't hold me to this, I want to say 39. Stopped for the war, picked back up after the war. They finished it, filled it. It was filled. They filled it faster than they thought it was going to fill up. There's all these tributaries that come to it. Filled up and was filled in 52.
Yeah.
And I think they started, obviously for power. No one, if you read all the history about the lake, no one, and this is true of Dale Hollow, it's true of other Tennessee Valley authorities, no one really anticipated the recreational skiing,
Right.
boating, tubing. Nobody anticipated that in 1952, right? And it took a while. There was some of that when I was a kid. We owned a boat for all of about 6 weeks when I was a kid. I fished from the banks with my uncle. You didn't really see a lot. You saw some fishing boats. That was kind of a fishing. I would say in the last 4 decades, it's become this recreational tubing, people go up and it was a period of time you had the skiers, but that kind of even went away. It's mainly tubers, families go up in the coast, tie off with each other, listen to music, hang out.
Yeah.
That's the area. And that's not much different than Dale Hollow, which is borders Kentucky and Tennessee. Probably
Similar size.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Different lake. So
Right.
Dale Hollow is more of I would call it a rounder.
Yep.
Whereas Lake Cumberland is more of a river lake with lots of little coves off. I mean, Dale Hollow has coves too, but not as many as Lake Cumberland.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one is deeper. Lake Cumberland can be 200 feet deep in some parts, but it's a rural area. It's mostly farm. There's now a little bit of Hal Rogers has been the congressman down there, and now is like one of the longest serving guys. And through the years of being on the Congress, it feels to me anyway that why else would some of these dollars flow here other than probably for Hal Rogers? I don't know that, but so there's, the roads are good. It's a decent town, but there's not a lot of industry there. There's a disproportionate number of double or triple the number of U.S. veterans who live in the county. I tried to research this recently. I can't figure out why that is, but that's in Somerset, which is Pulaski County. We always sort of stayed in Russell County, which is a even more rural county. And my dad was involved down there, but it's very rural, beautiful, softer. It's not the mountains like Eastern Kentucky coal mines, but more than just rolling hills like in Southern Indiana. It's foothills, right? It's a little mountainous. I wouldn't call them. If you've been to Colorado, you would laugh at the idea of it being called a mountain, but it's, they're pretty steep and pretty decent elevation changes, but rural. That's just the best way I can describe it. Rural, and education is growing, but there's a mindset, and there's not a criticism. It just is, and it works for them. There's a mindset of mostly people stay there.
Yeah.
If you were raised there, you stay there. You don't why aren't you going to go to UK? Then you're going to go work in Louisville. Or you're going to go work in Columbus. Not a lot of that. Those stories happen. That's just not a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so, but that's true again of a lot of the lakes around that are Tennessee Valley Authority properties.
So if I know VRBO, Airbnb,
Mhm.
those things have gotten real
Yep.
popular, and there's tons of places you can rent
Yep.
in Cumberland. If
Yep.
someone's thinking about doing that, well, I have 4 small
Yep.
kids. I've been down there many times.
To
Uh,
Cumberland?
oh yeah,
Huh?
yeah,
I
yeah. I have been. Yeah,
could have called, brother.
but I was over at Somerset on the other side. Yeah,
That's like
sorry.
20 miles. I always tell people, to go, well, for your mom, the hospital's like up in Somerset. It's 25 miles away. I said, there's not even a stop sign.
Yeah,
I can be from my mom's house to the hospital, like one traffic light. That's it. 25 miles, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't know you went down there.
Oh, that was my first lake experience. I'm originally from Florida.
Yeah.
Go swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
My first lake experience was there for a bachelor party.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. And I didn't, by the way, I didn't go on the water. Like I said, but my parents, we didn't boat. I knew boated. Nobody in our family boated. Only when I was in law school and got divorced, I met a guy from Purdue, my buddy Clint Murphy from Jeffersonville, Indiana, originally a Purdue grad. He invited me on this houseboat trip, and I said, well, I've never been on a houseboat. He goes, aren't you from Lake Cumberland? I go, yeah. He goes, well, how you never? I said, it's not what we do. First of all, we're poor. I said, second of all, nobody boated, right? Like we sit on the bank and fished up in a cove somewhere. And he's like, well, you got to go on this houseboat trip. So started doing these houseboat trips with these guys from Purdue. And when you're younger and single, it looks one way. Later, it looked like, we all had girlfriends or boyfriends, and there was a group of people that kind of regularly went. And then there was when people started having kids, there was sort of a break.
Yep.
And then we recruited some other people. I told enough people in the legal community about this, and that there were some people who decided, I won't mention names. Right now, there's a bunch of people out there listening. They're signed like, oh, don't say my name. Don't say my name. But we took a bunch of people, let's say 12, so 6 couples on a houseboat trip, which then looked different. Like we've all sort of, doing well in our careers. And so now you have much nicer dinners, right? Some people who are into wine brought like this really bougie wine. I don't know what bougie wine is, but they brought some bougie wine. And, and some people bought really nice boats. And I was like, we never had it looked different when you're older, but it was actually more relaxing and fun. I don't know about more fun, but it was, good group. But yeah, houseboating is popular there. It's the houseboat capital, they call themselves, because that's where they make a lot of the houseboats. And so that manufacturing is down there. But yeah, it's a big lake, like Dale Hollow, like Norris is not a Tennessee Valley Authority, I don't think. I'm trying to think of another Tennessee Valley Authority. Like I can't think of one at the top of my head, but
those are the 2 big ones.
Yeah, but Barkley on the west side of the state, or the land of the lake, it doesn't matter.
That's round.
Yeah. So the
Kentucky
benefit,
Lake, I was thinking.
I started to say, the benefit is that you can go and be alone, or you can go find your people and hang out with them. You can it's a lot of different things. There's whatever there is now, 6 or 7 marinas. 2 are family owned, and those I have a bias toward. But we've stopped houseboating also for a while. I got tired of organizing them. I said, I'll go, but if somebody else has to organize. But the water's just, there's some, that's true around the world, whether you're on the ocean or you're on lakes. My friends, I guess I probably shouldn't say this either. I won't say his name, but he's a judge in Johnson County who I used to practice law with, is selling his place. They closed yesterday on Cordray, right? Yeah. And you said you live out by Heritage, right? Yeah. So I have friends out there at Heritage, right? There's something about lake property that, it's just, it decompresses you, right? It does, man. And so for those who are in high stress jobs, I think they tend to gravitate toward a lot of that. Even if you're not in high stress, I mean, I think these people, my other working theory that I'm not sure is correct, but these are some freedom loving people. They don't like to be told what to do. My lake friends are like, they make me look a little left of center. They're like some free loving people. But they just like to have a good time. But they don't like, don't be ridiculous. And surprisingly, they're also very, very. You have to be, or it won't work out for. They're very safety conscious. Most boaters are very safety conscious, and so. Oh yeah. I'm amazed. When I first went on this houseboat trip, I go, hold on, they give you this 70-foot houseboat with 6 bedrooms on it, and it's 14 feet wide, and you don't have to have any proof that you know how to operate a boat. No. They just turn you loose on the lake. You're just driving. I'm looking around the room trying to think like, can you believe this? They send you down the lake and go, have at it. And you're like going,
Yeah.
and
Isn't
then
that crazy?
well, it is crazy. It's like, I'm going to go, well, the more crazy is like they rent these people those jet ski Sea-Doo things.
Oh,
Like that's just, I can't believe people rent those out still. I'm just like, they're so dangerous.
we had some for
We had some
2
too.
years. We got rid of them.
We
They were always broken down.
Yeah.
Always fucking broken down.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. We had the same experience.
Yeah.
Our laugh was the last few years. My buddy, Clint Murphy, my buddy from law school, we owned one together, and we would get it fixed over the winter, finally get it fixed, right? Get it going. The houseboat trip would, let's say, be early summer, like June. Inevitably, somebody would break it on that houseboat trip, and then we would take it back. And because they're so busy in the summer, they couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
We might get it at the very end of the summer, something like that. Then have to put it away, winterize it, then de-winterize it, and get it going again in the spring. And you use it like, again, maybe once, and then everybody break it on the houseboat trip, and then you maybe get it back just in time to use it in September.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're also, the fact that they let people, ours would do 40, let's say, and they have these things that'll do 70, 80 miles an hour in the water. That's just too fast. I'm just too fast. But I'm
buddy from Hanover has a house in Cumberland. Sold me those 2 jet skis that would top out at 40.
Oh,
Bought
yeah.
a huge 3-seater that topped out at 70. He was like, those were too short or too slow for me.
And people would put 13, 14-year-old kids on them.
Yeah.
And send them out. Like they couldn't even see what they were doing. They'd just be gone down the lake somewhere, and you're like going, I don't.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah. I'm surprised we don't hear more accidents, but yeah, it's frightening.
Mm-hmm. So it's a great fishing spot too.
Yep.
Big stripers down there.
Yep.
Big stripers.
Yep. And walleye and smallmouth and largemouth.
Right.
And then, but the secret, and I just learned this.
Tell us.
Well, I'm afraid I'm always, it's kind of like a consignment shop with clothing. I'm kind of afraid to say. The secret is, and I just discovered this a few years ago. It never occurred to me. I don't know what I was thinking, but below the dam, below the dam is some of the greatest trout fishing ever.
Really?
And it's big browns and big rainbow, and you go the certain time of year and they're popping and there's great eating.
Oh, man.
I'm not a fan of the eating of the stripers. I don't like the taste. It's kind of too bland and too whatever, but those trout below the dam, and not enough people know about it and don't fish it.
Okay.
And I bet you that's probably true of Del Hollow as well, but and other probably places that are man-made lakes that are dammed up. The below the dam having those trout is like, gosh, that's so good. It's just good. And you can see the water's usually so clear below the dam. You can see down, and you don't see it. You can see your bait, 30 yards away, 20 yards away, coming through the water, and you're like, there's nothing here. And all of a sudden, something comes out of the dark and just pops it, and you're like, if you're a fisherman,
right,
that is a great feeling, right? And then they give a good fight. That's the other thing I don't like about the stripers. They don't really fight. They just kind of lay there like a wet doormat. They're big, but they're just kind of wet doormats. And so the trout put up a good fight, like probably as good or better than a bluegill fights. Right? You get a good sized bluegill, he'll put a fight on you. Yeah. And so it's and it's better eating. That's the best eating. I mean, that and walleye, trout and walleye is really good. Oh, if you like eating fish, it's great stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, I grew up fishing down in Florida, so I'm love it. What do you think is the best time to go fishing down at Lake Cumberland?
February, March.
Really?
Yeah. Why? There's been no pressure for months.
Okay.
Number one. They're up in the coves, number two.
So they're all together.
Yep. And there's something about their nesting and their whatever.
Okay.
I can't remember how that works. There's another time, but it seems less certain, in late in the year, like August, September.
Okay.
Yeah, in the fall. But that's when, what is it? Crappie.
Yeah.
That's when the crappie are popping, but it moves. Like it might be always the first 2 weeks of August for 5 years, and then all of a sudden now it's the last week in August, first week.
It's hard to gauge. Yeah.
You don't know until but when you
Poker
hear
run is then too.
Let's not. I don't know who's listening to this, but let's not talk about Poker Run. That's a need to know basis only.
Yes.
Know about Poker Run in Lake Cumberland. Yes, it's a different. I did not know you went down there.
Oh, I've been. Yeah,
I feel like I've been set up for this interview.
No. I love Cumberland. growing up down in Florida, I grew up around boats, been on boats out on the ocean, never seen anything like it. Just you're kind of cruising down this huge lake, and then you look up and it's just like a cliffside,
So
depending on how the water
you're
is.
bringing up a good point. I was going to say that this is so the people listening to this podcast, I'm going to guess, are going to be Maxinkuckee, Tippy, Cordray, Princess Lake, Lemon Lake, Heritage Lake, Wawasee people. Okay, all great.
Yes.
But first question, oh, is your place like you walk down to the water? I said, well, it's not that way. I said,
No one does.
well, and I explained to him, but this is I don't consider it a detriment. A lot of people look at it and they kind of go, oh, I don't know if I like that. Norris Lake, for example, is a big lake where people have slips right out on the water, right, right behind their house. Cumberland and Del Hollow, the Tennessee Valley Authority owns it. Therefore, not only do they own the lake, they own 100 feet up or higher, depending on which is whatever, all around the lake. So when you're on the lake, you don't usually, especially in the summer, you don't really see homes. Yep. You see a lot of woods, a lot of wildlife. You pull up in a cove, the deer might come down. I mean, nobody can build because you don't own the land down by the water for 100 feet, maybe more. And so there's these large, it's like a large forest around the lake, a ring around the lake, even up in coves, wherever. Of course, there's some places that are set up on top of the hill somewhere that's beyond that 100 feet distance, whatever that look onto the lake, and you maybe can see them. But by and large,
it's rare.
Yeah, but you just so when the point of it is that when you're on the lake, and by the way, you haven't asked this question, but I will tell this question because it's a great answer. The best time to go on the water in Lake Cumberland is after this fictitious, mythical poker run. That's the second weekend. It's the weekend after. It's the weekend after Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
When that's over, so let's call it the third week of September. By the way, different also than Indiana, to like maybe the last week of October. Sometimes it's 70 to 80 degrees down there.
Heated pool. Yeah,
and then the water's right. It stays warm until it quote unquote turns over. That's actually a literal thing. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was made up by some Kentuckians. They go, is the lake turned over yet? And I go, what do you mean turned over? Like it's not a blanket. They're like, no, it turns over. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The lake does turn over. It's a thing. When somehow the cold water at the bottom gets trapped and the water up top, somehow the cold water all comes to the top. That happens in late October to early November. But until that time, you're right. It's like it may be 70 outside and all of a sudden you get in the water and it's like the water's like 75.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, this is nice and warm. But there's no one there. Plus the colors of the fall and all those trees are all the way around the lake reflecting off the water. For some reason, it seems like sometimes the wind has died down also a little bit that time of year. It's just the perfect time. It was, I would go by myself back when our kids were little and maybe they couldn't leave school. I'd go on the weekends by myself and just take the boat out, get some hot wings, go out on the cove somewhere and just sit and listen to music. And there was nobody around. There's nobody. You can find a cove even on July 4th weekend, nobody around. You just got to know where to go. But there's nobody around, and you just go down there and listen to music, and it's beautiful water and it's warm water. It was the best time. It's the second week. Yeah, let's just use the second week. The second week of September to probably like the third week of October is like the best time to be on the water down there. Because if you like being alone, if you like parties or people or like, running up whatever and, having a lot of people. Yeah, in the summer. Summer's good also, but it's just that summer during the week. I mean, I couldn't go during the week because I'm, I work up here, but sometimes you get a trip or something you had to be down there for, to go out during the week. It's like, it's nice. But even the weekends, I tell people, like, if you know where you're going and what you're looking for, you can find a cove that you will be in by yourself, not hear anybody. Memorial Day weekend, July 4th weekend, Labor Day weekend. They're the biggest weekends. You can still find a cove to be in on Cumberland. I think that's true for Del Hollow too, but maybe not as much because they don't have as long of coves as we do. But it's still, it's a great place. I did not know you went there. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Well, I want to do a quick fire.
Do it.
So I went to Hanover. I came from Florida. I went to Hanover with a lot of Kentucky kids and heard them say some things that things that I never heard before in my life.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you these. You need to tell, these are classic Kentucky sayings.
Yep.
You need to tell me what they mean.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's different. All right.
All right. That dog won't hunt.
I don't believe you. That's a made-up story.
Okay. This is one we talked about in the elevator. Oh, bless your heart.
And as we said, that can be two things. They can be really truly feeling empathy for you, or it could be that they're like, "Oh, you idiot."
Yeah.
So like, "Oh, you bless your heart." You're like, "You're so dumb or so wrong."
Do you think you've ever said that on the bench?
No. No.
This one we talked about, cattywampus. What the hell does that mean?
By the way, you said that. I had not heard that word in 30 years, maybe 40, until just this week.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody used cattywampus, and I went, "Is that a word?" And they're like, "Oh, it was one of my students at the forensic school." Mm-hmm. I do that also on the side as teach, but they said this week. They said cattywampus, and I went, "I've heard that," and then I had to go look it up, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's catty corner or like it's kind of tilted or something," and I was like, "That's all cattywampus. That's all tilted. It's all like that's all off. It's not right."
Yeah.
It's cattywampus.
That's funny. All right, this is a place.
Okay,
a holler.
Have you ever been up in a holler?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard? Wait, have you been up in a holler? Have you ever heard? Yerd, by the way, is another word.
He lives back in the holler.
Yeah, it's essentially, I tell people, you got to understand, in the mountains, in the agrarian age, without cars, and you're on horses, you did not, now everybody wants to be on top of the mountain and look down, right? That's the view you want. Back in the day, and you can tell it by looking at old houses where they are and where the new houses are, you wanted to be up in the holler. I introduced my wife to Patty Loveless in some Mountain Soul album, and there's a line in there where the sun comes up about 10 in the morning and the sun goes down about 3 in the day. So it's more shaded. Mm-hmm. There's usually water source, right? Mm-hmm. That's coming down there. And so you have water. Yeah. It's usually the farmland is better, right? Yeah. It's flatter down there. Yeah. And so you're up in a holler between 2 or 3 mountains. Yeah. And you're up there, you're up in a holler, in the low part in the valleys where it is. And so that's the thing. Yeah. Big holler, but they call it a holler. Maybe because if we, depending on where you were, if you say something, it echoes off the mountainside.
Have you ever heard this term, if the creek don't rise?
Yeah, Lord willing and the creek don't rise. You're not saying the whole phrase. The Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Okay. That is probably before Hank Williams. And when I say Hank Williams, I mean senior, not junior. And and I think don't hold me to this either. I think this is right. There was a guy on the old Grand Ole Opry back in the probably 30s or 40s. He would maybe close the show, talk about, "We'll see you again, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise," which meant that, and this was true of my childhood, because they didn't have bridges as much. They still don't have bridges in Jabez, by the way. There's no bridges. You have to drive out of the peninsula. The county seats, like, I can see their fireworks, but I have to drive 50 miles, 25 up, 25 back to go to the county seat. You would have to, you'd have to cross creeks to get there. And so that worked until there was rains and the river's up and the creeks rise, and then you're not traveling. Yeah. So Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, I'll see you again.
Yeah. And this one actually reminds me of my youngest, my 5-year-old. Madder than a wet hen.
Yeah, I've heard that one. That just means you probably need to go somewhere where that person is not. And usually, I don't know if I heard that applied to men. I think I had it applied to when mom or grandma was uptight about something and was really angry with somebody like that. They're madder than a wet hen, and there's no talking to them. There's no dealing with them. They're mad, and you just want to get out of the way.
And the last one here, that dog won't hunt.
I thought we did that one.
Oh, we did do that one. All right. Yeah.
Dog won't hunt. Yeah.
All right. Well, Judge, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show, talking about Kentucky. Sorry to surprise you with my many trips to Lake Cumberland.
I missed that somehow. I don't know how I missed that. There's a lot of people. So let me go through the lawyers who've been to Jabez.
See, I've never been to Jabez.
Well, I would say the ones that have been to. So Carl Brizzy went with us.
Oh yeah.
His wife, Attorney Kim Brizzy, went with us. Reagan Gibson and her husband Jason have been to Lake Cumberland. Judge Peter Nugent and his wife Jolene have been to Lake Cumberland. Dina Cox has been to Lake Cumberland.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's other people who have visited. I don't think they're lawyers. But yeah, you're surprised at the people who, there is by the way, so Hoosiers are not the majority tourists there.
Ohio.
Yeah, they call it the Buckeyes, or the Ohio Navy. They call themselves. They come, they show up in large numbers from Ohio, but there's a large number from Louisville.
Yep.
Not many from Lexington, because Lexington goes to that other lake that's up by them. But a large people from Louisville. There's a few from Indianapolis who go down boating. But Ohio, Cincinnati, Dayton, even Columbus comes all the way down there. But I've seen people who had places down there from Detroit, from Cleveland, as far away. They drive all the way. Detroit, you get on 75, it takes you all the way there. Yeah. There's 3 main drives, by the way. So the 3 main areas to go to? The 3 main routes to Lake Cumberland.
You can get 75. There's the Cumberland Parkway. I've taken 65 south.
Where'd you get off?
I couldn't remember. It was in central Kentucky.
You get off at Hodgkinsville, the Abraham Lincoln. Drive right by. By the way, with kids, you drive right by the Abraham Lincoln birthplace. Okay, it's kind of a cool little thing. And then you go through Campbellsville, Columbia, and then over to the lake. Or my favorite route is that goes, except for the 65 part, 65 down 64 at Louisville to Lawrenceburg. A lot of bourbon distilleries there. Go that route down through Lawrenceburg, through Harrisburg, Danville, and then into Somerset. And then the other route, which I never really went just until recently, I'll drive down on weekends and go to, I'll go to 74 to Cincy, which is nice.
Yeah.
Cincy's a little tough getting out of it on the south side of 275 and 75, but then 75 is 6 lanes the whole way through the state. Just like 65 is on the western part of the state. There's 6 lanes there.
Yeah.
How were the crossovers of America and don't have 6 lanes border to border? I'm not really sure I'm understanding that, but Kentucky does. Again, it must be Mitch McConnell and Hal Rogers or something. I don't know, but and then they have the Cumberland Parkway. They go east-west. They're not heavily traveled, but that's the 3 main routes to take that route.
Yeah.
There's the old routes, which is going 70, which would have been maybe 52 over to 421, crossing at Madison.
Yep.
Come down 421, and then cut over to 120. If you really want to go old, over to 127, you can go down 127.
So I went that route up to Hanover from Florida. And I'd never been to the Midwest before. I was 18 years old. My stepdad was driving, and we're in the middle. We're just out in the mountains in Kentucky, and then all of a sudden I see deer running across the street. Yeah, we're slamming on brakes and stuff. Like, it was just wild.
All right. So anybody wants to listen, that cares about this video or audio or podcast and is curious about Lake Cumberland and know me, if you lasted this long, there's a Cousin Ronnie story.
Yeah.
So Cousin Ronnie's in southern Indiana, right? My first cousin, my dad's side. Played drums, friended with Kenny Arnoff, who played for Mellencamp and Seeger and bunch of other people, plays on all the award shows now. Anyway, he tried to get Ronnie to go to Nashville. Ronnie didn't go. Ronnie was a really good drummer, became an electrician. Anyway, we drive down. Ronnie has a little place behind my mom's place in Jabez, and we drive down there together one year. And the bridge construction was going on at 65. And so we said, let's go back this way. And I was trying to figure out a way to go that way, right? Mm-hmm. So we go down 421 and we cross. And I said, I'm going to stay on 421. Instead of staying on 55 and getting over to 64, I'm going to stay on 421 and see if it's faster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you go through a town in Kentucky. And, of course, Cousin Ronnie, as people know, might be not the most pious of individuals and pretty rough humor. But anyway, we go through this town in Kentucky we see the road sign. He goes, Timmy, did you see that? I said, yeah. He said, we've went too far. Hell, we're in Baghdad, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, idiot. And now he tells everybody, he's like, well, Timmy got me one time. Hell, he goes, it took 8 hours. I said, it did not. It took like 5.5. It was the wrong way to go, but it was like, we went through Baghdad. He goes, we went through Baghdad. That's all I know.
That's funny.
So yeah, he gets
Cousin
Ronnie story.
Yeah.
Been to, and he's known, by the way, because that was my name for him. He's known by our people that we meet on the lake down there in the weekends for the last 10 years, 15 years. He's known as Cousin Ronnie to everybody.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's great.
So one last one, Cousin Ronnie. I'm a member of this legal club, and I tell these Cousin Ronnie stories and jokes. And somebody one time, I was saying something, I showed a picture or something. They go, "Wait, hold on. Cousin Ronnie's real?" Yeah, that's what those stories really happened. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. I was there. Or know them to be
Yeah.
pretty much true. So yeah,
That's great.
he's a legend in his own mind and in the mind of others, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe I should have Cousin Ronnie on the show.
No,
No.
no. That's a no. That you're gonna lose a lot of listeners,
Oh,
and the listeners you're gonna pick up are the people you don't want listening to your
Right.
podcast.
No longer a legal podcast.
No longer. Well, it's legal, but in a different, more from the criminal defense side. Yeah, it's more from the criminal defense side. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Judge, thank you. This has been great. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm sorry if I talk too much or too long, but I guess that's part of the purpose of having me on.
No, this is great. I mean, we love not just hearing about your path to the bench, but getting a glimpse into Cumberland for someone like me that's been there, but in your hometown, other people, it's always good to hear, how special Kentucky really is. I love going down there.
It's always been home, and yet Indianapolis has always been home.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to, you're always, I love the East Side and Chuck's Market, right? I love Bernie Kessler, Butler Tarkin. I love downtown Indianapolis. It's like I love all that. I've lived in all those places, but that is the original in a lot more time. So but my point is, it's not. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, but it's you can like a lot of places, I think, and not just get locked on one.
Yeah.
But that's another way of saying you people all don't have to come to Lake Cumberland because
That's a pretty big lake. There's plenty of space out there.
come during the week when I'm not there.
Right. I love it.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for listening to another episode of Circle City Conversations. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future conversations.